Welcome to Hope is Here. My name is Greg Horn, and thanks so much for joining us today. And we want to give people hope, and we talk about a variety of topics, and from dealing with addiction to divorce, just how hard marriage can be for people, losing a child. I mean, the list goes on and on of things that causes us to lose hope. But today you're going to be inspired by Julianne Williams. Julianne is dealing with a really, really major health challenge, and yet she has been just so faithfully over the last several months on social media, her Facebook page, just saying at the end of her post, "It is well with my soul," as she continues to give updates and has had to move in with a family member and just had a lot of challenges financially and professionally and most of all physically, yet she has still trusted Jesus through this and kept her hope there. I've been fortunate enough to know Julie since back in the late 1990s when I lived in Cynthiana, Kentucky, and Julia, I don't know about you, but we've got this flood. Water's coming back up. Somebody sent me some pictures and showed that the water had crested up around the store that used to be Payless and now was Save-A-Lot, and that's been 21 years ago, but brought back some bad memories from me. I'm sure you remember that day well also back in 1997 of March.
I do remember that. It was something that just never thought you would be a part of, never thought that, you think about things happening, and then all of a sudden, you've got things that you wouldn't normally have to deal with, and then there it is. It's right in your lap.
Yeah, it really was, and you share your story, and part of it was with WCYM Radio in Cynthiana, and you've got 3 beautiful children, Elizabeth, Rachel, and Daniel, and 6 grandchildren. You were a stay-at-home mom for many years, and then, like a lot of people, myself included, you suddenly found yourself single. I like how you say that. You're much more diplomatic about it than I have been, and most other people went through a divorce, but not by your choice, but you found yourself suddenly single and got to find a job. And, I know you have a great work ethic, but I guess the main question when you've been a stay-at-home mom, which is a full-time job, you probably had to ask your question, what am I going to do? Is that true for you?
It is. Yes, it is, especially, when you have 3 children and you just, one day everything's different. And it really can be a challenge. It really is a challenge to want to do the right things, want to make sure that I do the best I can for them.
Well, you most certainly did. You did a great job at Cynthiana. In fact, we used to co-host the pregame show for the Harrison County football games, and when I owned a Payless Food Center, and had a lot of fun doing that with you. You helped me cut my teeth in radio, and also was a lifelong dream to do some type of sports radio, and got to do that, and then winded up 15 years later that had a sports radio show here in Lexington on AM 1250 for 3 years, and I've been doing LCA football games as the play-by-play person for the last 4 years, and also the Georgetown College head football coaches and basketball shows. So I owe you a great debt of gratitude that you helped me cut my teeth in radio, but you went on to bigger and better things. You got a job at 96.9 KISS FM in Lexington back in 2001, and then you went on and became news director in a DJ position at Froggy 99 in Parkersburg, West Virginia. And so God really blessed your efforts, as you were very gifted in radio. But unfortunately, you started having some health challenges then when you were in West Virginia working in radio there. Can you share about what was going on?
Well, my whole life I have always just been tired, just completely worn out all the time. I didn't know you were supposed to feel better when you woke up than you did when you went to bed. And I was just a challenge every day to get up and do the things, that I had to do and take care of the kids and everything. And so I just started going downhill, and then I was told that I have a disease called scleroderma, and it basically turns it to rock from the inside out. It's just one of those diseases that just keeps getting worse as time goes on, and that's what happened to me. And then it caused liver cirrhosis, and now I've got a lot of different things that are going on with that, and the results that are a result of that scleroderma, and it's just it's hard to explain the pain and the fatigue. Fatigue, I think, is the worst thing with liver disease. Never feel good, and but then I got to the point where I just thought, I can't do this. I got to the point where I didn't want to do this. And I told God many times, if this is the way the rest of my life is going to be, I'd just rather not be here. And I don't know how to explain exactly what happened, but all of a sudden, I became so close to God. I had pain and hurt and anger all going on at the same time, and those things aren't easily dealt with. But I do know that God has been with me every step of the way. I never dreamed I'd be going through what I'm going through. I was told that I was dying, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I ended up praying intensely that whatever God's will was, that it would be manifest in my life and manifest in my life, that whatever God had for me to do, that I would do it. I would be, of course, you're never happy to be sick, but you can find joy. You can find peace, and that's the thing that is the most standout thing to me, is to know that no matter what, God is there. And I know that sounds maybe trite, but I just don't. I just can't explain the peace that has come over me in this time. I was told back in 2002 I was dying. I wasn't going to make it, and that's 2002. And I've got 16 years under my belt that all the doctors and people said that I wouldn't have, and that only happens through faith and through the peace and through the healing. And I totally believe in God's healing. God just, you think that you're not going to make it, and then there you are the next day, there you are, you're making it. And I just want so badly for people to know the peace that just you can't explain, and that's what I want the most to come out of my illness, is peace.
Well, you most definitely have exhibited that through all this, as I and several hundred others have followed you on Facebook and knew you when you had good health for many years, and yet, like you said, always felt fatigued. But now that you're dealing with some life-threatening challenges, you've just modeled what it is to trust Jesus through the pain, the heartache, and the tears. And I had a scripture this morning that said, when you've done everything you can do, that's when God will step in and do what you can't do, based off of 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 10. And that's basically what you did. You just said, God, I feel terrible. I'm not getting good reports, and I really don't want to live here anymore if this is going to be the form of life I have. And I love that honesty, and that's the type of relationship that God wants with us. And for those of you that are listening, you can tell Julie is not well, and yet she has modeled what it is to live as Christ and to die as gain, and whenever that time is. And yet she is really not just talking the talk, she's walking the walk. And I want to say to some of you right now, maybe you're afraid, you're listening, that you can't be honest with God because lightning will strike you if you do. And yet here's Julie in her just most desperate moment of just incredible pain and major health challenges, just saying, Lord, if this is the best there is, then just let me come home with you. And at that time, God showed up. So I love the example of honesty that you have modeled for us, Julie, over the past several years, and that God has given you many more years. But unfortunately, things have not progressed to get the healing maybe that you wanted here on earth. But you had went to Indianapolis and met with a group of medical people about possible transplant. Talk about the transplant that they talked about, Julie.
I was told that I needed a transplant. At the time, we thought it was just a liver that I needed to have the transplant. But then all of a sudden, it just grew to the point where now I need a 5-organ transplant, and that would be the pancreas, stomach, liver, and I'm sorry, Greg. A lot of times I have problems because of my ammonia levels.
Right. Well, yeah. Also, you said your intestines and your duodenum. Is that correct?
Yes.
So a 5-organ transplant is what the doctors told you that you were going to need. This was at Jewish Hospital up in Indianapolis. We're talking with Julie Ann Williams, the 5-organ transplant, which included the duodenum, the stomach, her intestines, pancreas, liver, and possibly a kidney. And there's only 2 places in the country that performed that. One was in Indianapolis and one was in Tampa. And unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap things up today. But stay with us because Julie's going to be with us again tomorrow, and she's going to share what she found out. We're talking with Julie Ann Williams. She lives in Glasgow, Kentucky now, but I got to know her in Cynthiana, Kentucky, and just an unbelievable story of faith through a long medical journey that she's been dealing with for almost 20 years, and now is even facing possible death. So I hope that you'll, if you miss this, you'll go to our website because you can hear the podcast later today, and that's at hopeishere.today. Hopeishere.today.
CMI is your full-service human resources provider in Central Kentucky. For 15 years, CMI Human Resources has taken great pride in helping organizations and people work. Whether it's employee handbooks or help in filling a position, no job is too large or too small for CMI. Contact the professionals today at CMI Human Resources, 859-296-2800, or online at cmiconsulting.com.